Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. This morning, two subject matters. Let's look at the NDDC board. As you know, the president has forwarded to the Senate his list for their consideration and approval. And we should be speaking, with Mr. Kolawole Johnson on that. But just before then, here's a package that went out to give us perspective.
President of the Senate begins the day's business by opening letters of request sent by President Muhammadu Buhari. One of such letters is a letter from Mr. President nominating a 15-member board to oversee the affairs of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Loretta Onochie, President Buhari's special assistant on new media, is nominated to be the substantive chairman of the board.
I hereby present the unlisted 15 names of nominees as chairman and members of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, for confirmation by the Senate. Copies of their curriculum vitae are attached herewith. 1. Loretta Ifanyi Onoche, chairman.
Shortly after the announcement, the Deputy President of the Senate, coming under Order 42, explains to the Parliament that Mr. President's nomination list did not capture a state representative for Delta State, separate from the chairman nominee. He says this is a necessary requirement in line with the federal character provisions as well as the Act establishing the NDDC.
1B of the NDDC Act, every state of the Niger Delta is supposed to have one member, an indigene of the state representing the state in the board of the NDDC as a state representative. Now, the list you read out has all of the states represented, but Delta State does not have a state representative.
Agreeing to the observations raised, the President of the Senate urges Mr. President to quickly respond to the matter to enable the Senate proceed with the consideration of his request. The new board is expected to take over from the sole administrator currently overseeing the affairs of the NDDC. Loretta Onochie, alongside other presidential nominees of the NDDC board, will be required to appear before the relevant Senate committee to commence the screening process for the Senate's confirmation. Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay, we're back, and with that background report, our first guest this morning is Mr. Kolawole Johnson. Mr. Kolawole Johnson, a fine morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you very much for making time for us. I have you as Head Directorate of Research, Program, and Strategy. Am I correct there?
At the ethics. I said.
Hello, Mr. Kolawole. I was just double checking on. I was just double checking on your function. Head Directorate of Research, Program, and Strategy of. I just wanted to clear that. Anyway, it looks like we have a challenge in communication. We have a challenge in communication, but once again, a fine morning to you. Now, the list that has been submitted by the president, as we saw in that report, there seemed to be an issue with. Maybe, first of all, give me your take on that. Well, it's clear that we have started Monday this way. Sometimes it is like that. The video is freezing and all of that. But Well, we've sort of started off, naming the subject matter, and it's really on the all-important NDDC board and President Buhari's submission of the list. The Loretta Onochie, the president's special assistant on special media, she has been nominated as the substantive chairman. But I was just going to see if I could. I just saw your picture there, Mr. Kolawole Johnson. So I'm assuming that you are with us now. Can you hear me? Mr. Johnson.
Okay, now I'm just hearing again now. I wasn't hearing a theme before.
Okay. So sorry about that. I understand. So, Mr. Kolawole Johnson, thank you very much for coming on the program. But I was trying, what I was trying for the other time, was to, track down head directorate of research programs and strategy. I wanted to attach your institution to it. Well, I have a problem. Well, it's not so much me as somehow the system, and the video is freezing, which is most unfortunate first thing on a Monday morning. But we have with us as our first guest, Mr. Kolawole Johnson, Head Directorate of Research Programs and Strategy of APTI, APTI, that being Act for Positive Transformation Initiative. But unfortunately, Mr. Kolawole Johnson seems to have a difficulty hearing us. But he was going to comment as soon as he can on the situation. Mr. President has done, his part, sent to the Senate. A matter has been pointed out. Okay, Mr. Johnson, can you hear me now?
All right. Sorry. Yes, I can hear you now very well.
Okay. Glad that at least we're going to sort of manage by. So I was saying the NDDC board that the president has submitted his preference, his list to the National Assembly for, the National Assembly, the Senate itself observed that maybe there was some need for amendment. And I suppose the principal news in there is that Ms. Loretta Onochie, the president's special assistant on the new media, has been nominated as substantive chairman. First of all, give me your comment on that, if you will, please.
Well, first, because this is a long awaited list, we may just want to gloss over a whole lot of irregularities in that list. But if you will face reality, you will start asking yourself some basic question about the understanding of those in power right now, about NDDC, the peculiarities of the region, and the need for rapid development in the place. I have nothing against the young woman. I mean, nothing against her. And I am one advocate of you don't need to have to be an expert in the language of the sexual in terms of experience before responsibilities can be given to you. However, you need some certain requisite experience to be able to function in certain places. You have a Niger Delta region. The board is not just a board like every other board. It's a board that is, that ought to look into the development of a region that is prone to environmental degradation, that is prone to all manner of, effects of feeding the nation, so to speak. You have 9 states that must be looked into. You need thorough planning. You must be able to, not just project for the immediate future, also, the far future too. So I think coming from an essay on social media to sit atop the board as a chairman, as a chairperson, I don't think some of our leaders, well, let me not use some derogatory words, but basically I think we need to do better. We should ask, what is she bringing on board? Okay, you sent her to ENEC. People said no. So you think the NDDC should be, okay, just go put her there. Now, if you look at the import of that, one thing you will see clearly, not just from this appointment, on several other appointments in government. It is true that we are running a democratic, because we're in a democratic dispensation. But I beg to disagree, somehow, some way, somewhat. In this government, you have some feudal laws. In fact, we are running, a form of feudalistic operation in a democratic setting. You have some feudal laws in government, some big shots who put people who are loyal to them in places, in positions, regardless of their competence. So their loyalty is not to the nation. Their loyalty is not to the people. It is to these few persons who are the feudal laws. You remember the Karl Marx historical development lineup. So we are back to the days of the feudal law, which is just a little bit different from slavery, where some people are put in position and they make returns to those laws. You can call them whatever name. That seems to be the situation right in fact, not that seems to be. That by data, empirically, look at the different agencies. That is what you have. And unfortunately, the interest of the people does not come first. It is the interest of these leaders. So let us take this as a case study. Loretta Almonte is coming to that place. Who nominated her? Did that nomination come from the state? Apparently no. Now, there are also two allegations on this, but unfortunately we can't start destroying ourselves because we don't want some people. So let's just leave it at the fact that some people who are pushing people in, folks in the government, they don't mean well for the people. It is only for their pocket. And I can tell you, NDDC has suffered so much on that.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, could I just come in there? I beg your pardon. Could I just come in there? Your issue seems to be you have questions about the qualifications of Ms. Onoche for the job. That seems to be, that's the understanding I get. And then you asked again.
No, not about her qualification. It is about the process of emergence.
Okay, so that would relate to your question, who nominated her, that you asked, right?
Now, that is what we're asking. The president will tell you that he doesn't know most persons who work with her. With him rather. So some folks in government nominate, and I've told you that you have some feudal laws in this government who sit in a place because of their closeness to the president. They use that advantage to nominate their own proxy to be in different positions, and those people are only loyal to them, not to the people. And I think this is also a case study. Not just her person. It perhaps most of the names you see in the board. We can't say, let us just save ourselves the stress of name calling by not mentioning specific cases. Take for example, you have a situation in Ondo State where I come from. Now, the person nominated for the executive director project is not from the oil producing area. He is from Owo, a non-oil producing area of the state. And you want the person to sit as executive director project against the letters of the act establishing NDDC. And we have heard that powers that be at the National Assembly first, the member representing that area, Honorable Akin Jokolade, has already written a petition. That is right. They don't know anything about the nomination. And they said that they also heard that the governor said he doesn't know anything about the nomination. So who nominated these guys? You sit in a place and you choose for the people. Government should be from bottom to top. These are there from top to bottom.
I hear you.
We must stop that.
Indeed. I hear you, Mr. Johnson. I hear you, and I understand what you're saying, and you said it's not, it's not about her qualifications. Maybe suitability might be a better word for the job.
Yes.
But I wanted to...
I
wanted to ask, sorry, Mr. Johnson.
This is big.
I wanted to ask what your locus in this matter is. APTI is Act for, if I got it right, Act for Transformation Initiative.
Positive Transformation Initiative.
Yes. So you speaking for that group, or are you speaking for the people of Niger Delta? This is what I wanted to establish.
Okay. I'm sure that you didn't, when you invited me, you invited me as one who has done a lot of work. Our organization has done a lot of work regarding Niger Delta area at this time. We pride ourselves as development activists. Okay. And we have done so much in that. In fact, I beg to say that I doubt if you have any organization standing today who must have put in so much work like us. And I think you believe we have, the knowledge of the area, the workings before you invited us. And
that's right. That's right.
Whether as a stakeholder,
but I just wanted to establish your stake in the question.
Uptime. That's it. So if you're inviting me as the director of my organization, I will be speaking. And of course, we don't have a position. The board should come. We have advocated for that. Why have we advocated for the board? You have 9 good states, and each state ought to be represented in the board to take decisions for the entire region.
Okay.
And in addition to the please. In addition to the state representative, you have an executive director of project, executive director of finance, and the MD that directly run the commission. In addition to that, we have members from the oil companies who are the major contributors to the finance, to the fund of the commission. You have them as members of the board. You have representatives of the Ministry of Environment, Finance, also present in the board. So with this, you can't but have some, some form of representation that will also ensure that development go round. Unlike when you have only a few individuals, like 3, or like you've had in the last, 2 years, 2020 November, they brought in a 3-man, a 3-person committee, and that continued till 2021, I think. Yes. No, sorry, 2019 they dropped that. Then by 2020, they appointed a sole administrator who of course, who was there up until recently that the civil servant came in. And unfortunately, you have a civil servant who is an engineer, who should even better suit for that position. And of course, you don't have the time for him to even do much. And we are bringing what that we are knowing for. So you can't even complain now.
Okay, and from what I read, I understand that a lot of people are happy with the naming of the managing director of the place, Honorable Samuel Ogbuku. No problems with that.
Yes, Samuel. Yes, Samuel.
No problems with that. The problem is, as you have stated, you don't think...
No, let us leave the board. Let the board come, irrespective of who is there. Those who have issues can be dropped. Then, you can't... The board is better than having some, because the fear is that if you complain about this board now, they may remove the civil servant who by law cannot perpetrate much, more in these backdoor things that they do, because they are still civil servants. They'll be very, very careful. They are putting years in service. So then we remove the man and bring in another interim committee. That is the fear that I think will just allow people to just accept the board, regardless of what it looks like.
Well, I hear you. And what if Mr. President, Mr. President has made his choice. He wouldn't have made it alone. You've spoken of, some feudal personalities. He would have made it after great consideration, but you know, it's a democracy. People who don't see it exactly like that, you know, are voicing their opposition. Indeed, some groups have gone as far as rejecting the offering of the president to be the substantive chairman. What if Mr. President doesn't budge? Hello, sir.
Hello?
I was saying, what if...
Yeah, sorry. The last line of question. What if
the president doesn't budge? I mean, the president has made his submission. Something has been pointed out to him that you also mentioned it. Every state is supposed to be represented. I believe I heard in there that Niger Delta doesn't have its own representative, irrespective of Ms. Onoche, you know, being from that area. So I was saying, what if the president doesn't budge? What if the president says, that is my considered opinion?
Okay. If the considered opinion is against the law, what about that? What will the president do? He will allow the rest of the law because that's his opinion? I don't think the president will do that. However, this case happened before. Somebody was nominated from the same order. I think in the last list that was sent, and the people stood against that because that is what the law states. You can't bring an executive director from the non-oil producing area to sit on the board because the board is practically part-time. It is the 3 members who are the executives that run the commission, and you're already choosing really through from a non-oil producing area itself. I don't think that is fair. And since that is against the law, I'm sure the president will also look into that. Number one. Number two, I can confirm to you authoritatively, please quote this. I can confirm to you that there are rumblings already within the hierarchy of the government because the initial approval of the president, was said, let me use that word now, and be very careful, on air, was said to have been altered. So let us see how he reacts to that. I do not think that what you have, based on what we have heard, was the exact thing that the president approved. Like, as I see, you have some people who throw the president's name, I don't want to mention, who throw the president's name to get things done because they are close and they just put people who are loyal to them. Can I just let you know that in the last 2 years of thereabouts, the commission has spent close to 400 billion naira. 400 billion. What can you point to? What can you point in the region for that? We heard that about 1,000 emergency contracts were awarded. And some were even against the laid-down rules for this. So it favors some people to create crisis so that they can again bring some interim committee to see. That is what we are saying no to. That it is better for us to have a board that is not perfect than to have an interim committee that will again be filtering the resources of people away to some very few colleagues. That's enough. And don't you let me tell you this. You can quote me on this. See, we have trained. See, you should take your mind back to 2020, 2 years back. What we did, we were tracing, funds moving from the commission to some silent contractors, even to account of individuals. We trace, those money to BDC. As soon as this contractor takes money, he goes straight to BDC and they go to deliver to these respective people. So this is the practice we must stop. And if we will stop that, at least not completely, to some extent, we must have a board that represents the people, not the interest of a few individuals in government who have the opportunity of closeness to the president or to enter the villa or because they have some position.
All right then.
Here.
Well, Mr. Johnson.
Please wait on this. Please wait on this.
Okay.
Wait on this. If you pick people who know that they are survivors there, not people on the block, it's basically on the man that brought them to power. What do you think they will do? They want them to listen to that man, not to the people. Because you can even cry for money tonight, it will not matter. As long as they know that you can't do anything about their being there. That is why the president must listen. As a matter of fact, In fact, as a matter of show of leadership, because you ask some questions. What will be the legacy of Mr. President in this area at the end of the day? That we function for years without a board, and you're bringing a board again, that board is still questionable. No. So I think he must listen to the opinions of the people and respond accordingly to the best of the interest of the larger majority of the people, not some few cronies who are around it. I
think I get that point.
For me, personally.
I get that point, and I want to thank you very much because you've been very clear about it. And you've also said that you don't have anything against Loretta Onochie per se, but it's the whole thinking behind it. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing this opinion, so at least we know, and we'll now see how it will go from here. We'll see the amends, if any, that Mr. President will make. Thank you very much for making time for us. Okay, welcome back. And my second guest is Honorable Duro Meseko. He's a former member of the House of Representatives, Kogi State, and he's also a member of the Media and Publicity Committee, APC Presidential Campaign Council. Honorable Meseko, we're glad to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Before we even go into what our subject matter, our interest is this morning with you and Kogi State, which is Kogi and 2023 politics, because Kogi is, quote-unquote, out of sync with the rest of the electoral program. So when everybody is coming in with the new governor, that will not be the case of Kogi. In fact, your primaries are going to be held around
March to April next year.
March to April, when new governors would have been known, and maybe some of them being sworn in. We had a similar situation just over the weekend with
Osun.
with Osun. So we'll talk about that. But in Ibaji, in Kogi, you also have found oil. And yes, this conversation about my name, the name of the representative for my state is not on the list, also affects Kogi as well. There is no Kogi representative on that list.
Exactly. And when I went through the list, I mean, what immediately came to my mind was the federal government or the presidency that produced the list, may have not really factored in the fact that Kogi is now officially an oil-producing state.
Because you say you've been paid already.
Oh, yes.
The state has been
the
paid
state government announced last month that they've received their own share. I mean, that's Kogi has received its own share of allocation, for oil-producing states. So that shows you that we should be on board. So, but I'm sure the President Muhammadu Buhari, is a listening president, is a leader, who listens, and I'm sure it will be corrected. And Kogi will have its own representative on the new NDDC board.
Indeed. And very briefly, you heard Mr. Kolawole Johnson, who has an interest, Act for Transformative Initiative. You heard his presentation, and he said it's about the suitability of people for the post. I don't know if you vary in his submission or if you're really on board with him.
Well, yes, but of course, the suitability in quote and unquote is subjective. I mean, your own best might be my own, second best. So the president, in his wisdom, has said this is the person that is most suitable to chair the new NDDC board. And so I think we should leave it at that. Surely they will have their own reasons for doing that.
Okay. Let me go on a quick break. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We'll continue with Honorable Meseko, and we'll go straight on to politics in Kogi vis-a-vis the situation that I just explained. Stay with us, please. Okay, welcome back. As you know, we have Honorable Duro Mesako. He is is a former House of Representative member for Kogi State, and is also a member of the Media and Publicity Committee, APC Presidential Campaign Council. As I was saying, in Kogi State, they're out of sync a bit. The incumbent governor in Kogi will be leaving office in January 2024, and he will be replaced. Now, the process to elect a successor is going to be between March and April 2023.
Yes.
So, what does this do for the larger, bulk of the country that is in sync, in tandem, so that you'll be doing majority of them? How will it affect, if at all, that objective, the 2023 election?
Oh, you mean election?
Yes.
Well, if you look at it, the presidential election is February 25, 2023. By the time we'll be going into primaries in Kogi for our governorship election.
It will be after that.
It will be after that. And of course, this is politics. And I don't see how it will not affect it much. For instance, my party is in power in Kogi State, the All Progressives Congress, and we occupy, the political space. For instance, of the 25 House of Assembly seats, we occupy 25, and of the House of Reps seat, we also occupy majority, ditto Senate. So, for me, it's just like a normal exam that is already that the APC will pass. Okay. So it's not, for me, it's not so much as it's just a normal political process, That nothing to fret about.
Or indeed strategize, especially about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Mazi Okoroafo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Yori. Good morning, I guess. When we talk about politics in Kogi State,
yes,
I guess, I want us to look at this issue. I think the young man that in question in that Kogi politics, that we were told, according to newspaper, according to what we see, what's there in Kogi State, that the young man was with the government. At the end of the day, the same government now said the boy is now with terrorists or waiting the attack date as a suspect. But what I want to find out from now is, I would like Kogi State government, in terms of politics, that we have to examine anything we do so that we get what we call credibility. Because to me, it is not when one is in the government that values. When you leave the government, the way people rate you and the way people say, during social regime, what was called an icon leaving the government, an icon have credibility, an icon at least tomorrow. Your children will benefit. That is what we should look at in terms of politics. But the government is trying, I think, with this flood issue that happened every day, that logo just on, thank God that everything has just come to now. But I pray that such flood will not come back. And at the last topic, we just finished the NDDC issue that just finished before you enter this one. You see, I pray that the government will put it clear, the federal government, that NDDC organ, the chairman, whosoever that is coming after this month, the next state that will take over the chairman position of NDDC, they should indicate it now. And the board members, now, when they say, next chairman from social state, because every time you see confusion in NDDC, every time, and the way they work contract, the new board members should not be contract-oriented board members. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okoroafo. And would you like to relate to the point he made in relation to Kogi?
Yes, he talked about somebody that was arrested, and that maybe they said he was, well, I'm not a security personnel. And if the DSS, in their wisdom, decides to pick somebody they felt, was
needs to be investigated.
Yeah, needed to be investigated. Of course, I think we should allow them do their job, and that's that about that. I wouldn't want to comment on that.
Yeah,
really
I guess the import of the question is that hopefully this won't put a black mark against Kogi and its the administration.
No, not at all. Rather, I'm even rather it's even a plus, because it shows that Kogi is not a haven for terrorists. I mean, if we want to look at it from that perspective, and that there's no hiding place, just as the governor said some few days ago, that in Kogi there is no hiding place for bandits or terrorists.
Okay. Fidel in Owerri. Good morning to you, sir.
Yeah, it's a pleasure being with you. My name is Fidel Onyeneke. I am interested in this issue of NDDC. You see, every time it appears government has not been putting the right people in the rightful position, and it appears they do things without effective monitoring. I want to suggest that this new board of NDDC, that there should be a way of checking their excesses in case there will be one, and also monitor all the activities to ensure that all those who are supposed to benefit as expected. They must jettison this issue of being overwhelmed by contractors and so on, probably for personal reasons, and focus on things that we talk positively on the rural dwellers, that will improve the living standard of the people of the Niger Delta. That is the only way people can see them that they have achieved the expected results. Thank you, and God bless you. I'm Fidel Onyeneke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onyeneke, for calling in. The point that he makes was also made by Mr. Kolawole Johnson earlier, that, look, this is about the development of the entire region, and that seemed to be his main concern, that because he referred to, quote-unquote, some feudal overlords that were doing things for themselves behind the scenes. But, I have a difficulty, actually, believing that Mr. President will fall for that kind, Mr. Johnson was speaking.
I don't also think so, but I think the last speaker made a very valid point, which I also subscribe to, that the NDDC board, this new board, should, with all that we've seen, with all the outcries and all
there's
that,
been
should
so much scandal.
Should hit the ground running immediately and ensure that, NDDC lives to its billing, and what is that? To ameliorate, all the problems that have been identified in the NDDC state, especially the grassroots, construction of roads, electricity, and so on and so forth. It's time for NDDC to stop, omnibus contracts, that have little or no bearing on the mass of the people. So, I think he made it very valid.
Chidi in Kafanchan. Good morning, sir. Did you hear me, Chidi? Good morning.
Yes, I hear you. Good morning to you.
Thank you for calling.
Good morning. Have a great week ahead. Please, my take is on Kogi politics. Can I go on?
Excellent.
Go
ahead.
I think everything that needs to be done should be done so that Kogi State, as one of the states we have in this country, would have it better this time around. Because within the last 8 years, the state has not had it anywhere better in terms of governance. I think the government presently should allow the citizens of the state to choose whosoever that they want to be their governor, so that it is not going to be a governor that was imposed on them. And such governance doesn't bring productivism in terms of the reasons of it. I want to say thank you very much, and God bless Nigeria.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. The point that he raised, let me go, for instance, there will be a new governor. It won't be with APC won't be the only person interested. But even staying with APC, there's the whole matter about where a person comes from, his section, his region, because there should be a sort of a mutually agreed, even if not written, sort of a order.
Yes.
So in that regard, what are the challenges? For instance, the Okun people, they want to come in. Then there are the Igbira people. So give me some sort of an understanding in brief.
Well, thank you very much. We have 3 major tribes in Kogi. We have the Galas, they are in the majority. We have the Igbiras. We also have the Okun Yorubas.
You're of that group.
Oh yes,
you're of Okun.
I'm an Okun. Yes, and of course there are other smaller tribes too. The Galas have had 16 years in government. Audu was there, the late Prince Abubakar Audu of blessed memory. Of course, Alhaji Ibrahim Idris was also there. In fact, he was there for 9 years. He's also a Gala. And Captain Idris Wadatu was there for 4 years. And now, Alhaji Adoza Bello, also there now. He's been there now for 7 years, thereabouts. Naturally, Kogi West, that hasn't had its own, time or turn, will naturally also want to agitate, which is what is happening right now.
But is there any contention on this? Seeing as you've explained how it's been going on with one section for quite a while, is there any contention that it should go around? For instance, are the Galas about to protest that no, it's a contest? This whole matter about understanding and conceding.
Well, I believe the current governor, Governor Bello, launched an initiative called a BIGO. I think about a year or 2 ago. A BIGO means Ebira, Igala, Okun, and it's all about justice, equality, and all that, equality for all. And so since a BIGO is in place, I am sure that our brothers, and sisters from the East, that's the Gala people, of course they will. I'm not sure they will want to rock the boat of a BIGO. They wouldn't want to go against the spirit. Ditto for our brothers from Central, the Ebira people. They've also had their own turn, about to have their own turn of 8 years. So I think naturally, it should, move to Kogi West, my personal opinion, in the spirit of a BIGO.
That's the Okun people.
Yes, the spirit of a BIGO. Yes, Kogi West is not only Okun people that are in Kogi West. We have about 7 local governments. But Okun occupies 5 of the local government, or 6, 5.5, part of Lokoja local government. We also have Okun there. So that's it.
Because as you know, that caller said that from where he is calling from,
well, he was talking about leadership. Kogi should
Kogi
elect.
Hasn't had its best yet.
Well, but that's also subjective. That's his own view.
His own opinion.
Yeah, that's his own opinion. Everyone is entitled to his or her opinion. But as per his fears about the processes producing or throwing up the best, I can assure you that my own party, the All Progressives Congress, is a party of due process, and that during the primaries between March and April next year, I can assure the caller that the best candidate will be thrown up by APC.
Indeed, and it's very likely to not go against the spirit of a BIGO that you.
My prayers are prayers.
That is your prayer. Well, as you said, your party, APC, it's consistent, or
absolutely,
it's consistent. It has stated that this is one way to go.
Yes.
So you'll be very surprised if anybody were to go against that spirit come the time.
Absolutely.
When the primaries shall be.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Honorable Duro Meseko. I wish we had more time to talk about it, but thank you very much. former member of the House of Representatives, and also member of the Media and Publicity Committee of the APC Presidential Campaign Council.
Thank you.
And our thanks also to our first guest, Mr. Kola Wale Johnson, who spoke to us about his concerns on the list of the President to the National Assembly concerning the NDDC board. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.